Okay, now everything's working again. Yeah, it's going to be painful for Mark. Okay, yeah, I wanted to do this. You know, folks, it's hard for me to remain detached from the Mark Taylor story because it's what happened to me. And in spite of that, very few people, none of the Alex Jones out there, none of the John Stadmillers, nobody tried to help me put it all back together again. Now, at least Mark's got people around him, people that love him. His mother stayed with him. And I tried to put it back together by myself. I tried to put it back together, and I have had nothing since I got out of the hospital but harassment from all kinds of sources on other chat rooms and whatever. And, you know, I've had really good guests on and had people get mad at me because I wasn't speaking up for the medical institution. As far as I'm concerned, it's a medical military industrial complex that is the fault, and they're all funded by the banksters. The Halliburtons out there, the Brown and Roots, the Monsantos, the Pfizer's out there. These are all people that are making money left and right off of you. Billions of dollars worth of drugs, and the pharmaceutical drugs are responsible for the deaths of over 20,000 people that they can account for a year. So if you're out there taking Valium, well, I guess it's just a little tinge, then you are, and that's right. Uncle says the Bible warns us about pharma. That's the next book that I'm working on right now about Mystery Babylon, the pharmacia. It's all part of it. You know, everything's so intertwined. And there's more. There's more. And I am tempted. Now what's happened with the Patriot movement? We have had an effect. Now, they went out, people have gone out and started the End the Fed rallies. They've started the tea parties. They're talking about mortgages. There are people out there that are putting out good information and trying to. And we've got the internet. So when I started the Free American magazine, and the paper was the only way to go. So I traveled all around the country doing it. Now you can get all of this information. All you got to do is Google it. Google it, and you get all the information that you need. And people are out there putting out pretty good information, but they're not seeing the whole picture. And a lot of them are basically stuck in dogma. Oh, it's those Muslims. We need to stop the Muslims. Yeah. Oh, it's the Jews. Oh, it's the Jews. You know, no. It's the Masons. It's the Masons. Yeah, and we're right and we're wrong on all of it. I suspect, as Richard Hoagland points out in the video, in the audio here that I'm going to share with you, we don't know what is really happening here. And it may have been happening to us for thousands of years. Now, I touched on this 40 years ago in one of my books, in the first book that I wrote. It's called the Solomon Series. And I hit on some of the stuff that we've talked about in those shows this last week. I mean, if you go back and listen to the shows here with Larry Pratt, with Governor Gary Johnson, with all of my guests, and Frosty Woolbridge was talking about the overpopulation of the earth and the depletion of our resources and the futility and the insane drug laws that we've got right now. You can go out there as a doctor, driving your Mercedes. You can go out there and sell all the drugs you want, but if the kid down the street wants to sell me a ounce of pot, he's a criminal. You've got 1 in every 31 Americans in prison on parole or on probation, and most of them are about drugs, illegal drugs. Well, guess what? The banksters are making the money off the drugs. They are making the money off the illegal drugs. They're keeping them illegal so they can use your children or you for slave labor in the prison camps. Arizona bragged about it one time. Yeah, we make more than just license plates. Yeah, we do okay. We're making all kinds of things. We're competing with the American people by doing the same thing we accuse the Chinese of doing, using slave labor. All right, I want to bring up Richard Hoagland. Listen to this.
Are you ready to take a ride? We are embarked on a rather remarkable journey in the 21st century. For most of my life, we have looked at space, we've looked at the idea of human beings beyond the earth, living, exploring, working, finding out amazing things, and it was always pregnant with possibilities. It always was part of the culture that we were born to explore. Remember the famous words of Gene Cernan and David Scott when they landed on the moon and set foot on the moon, and they talked about the innate need for humans to explore? We're not exploring. And what I'm going to try this afternoon to show you is why we're not, why we have to change this, otherwise we're not going to be here much longer, and what forces are keeping us, as my friend Alex Jones keeps saying, on a prison planet. Because in essence, what I'm going to show you is that's where we are. Now, is that immutable? Is that unchangeable? No. And it's in our power, and the fact that all of you came out on a Sunday afternoon to see this, to me, is a very hopeful sign, because the biggest problem we have had in the last 10, 20, 30 years of the space program has been the non-involvement of the people who care most. I'm not talking about the contractors or the politicians or the, tertiary military that's involved. I'm talking about the people of planet Earth. When Neil landed on the moon with Buzz, remember, he declared that they had gone on behalf of all mankind. Of course, disenfranchising the other half of the human race, which is not mankind, but that was 1969 and this is not. The point is that if we don't get involved, and really get involved, nothing is going to change.
Now, I almost did this whole clip just for that. If we are out there, me out here trying to accomplish something, trying to help somebody, trying to inform you, if I don't get some help here, if I don't get donation, if somebody doesn't order a book, if somebody doesn't order a book, if somebody doesn't make a donation, then I can't do anything. This is what the whole thing has been about with me. It has been financial. They don't want you to know about this information. They don't want you to know that 2,000 years ago, the Bible told us of the coming of the New World Order as the eighth beast, the mark of the beast, and warned us about the Jews who say they are Jews but are not. Jesus told us that they were liars and of their father Satan. In this book, The Past Meets the Future. This book has Operation Watchtower in it. It has a Homeland Security assessment. It has the truth about Christian identity. 40 bucks. 35 bucks to get a signed copy delivered to you. And for you jerks over there on the talk show that want to put down anything that I do, anything I say, any guest that I have on here, well, it's about, yeah, people are buying the book. And oh, this jerk on here. Oh, here's the shit that you put on. Yeah, the guy Clay had on who hated Muslim did not know anything about the Jew. Frosty's been on other shows. He never mentions the Jews. So what? Why should we mention Jews? Yeah, some of them are evil, but some are like you. Oh, maybe Donna has a screw loose. If she's saying anything like spiders and other things, maybe she's not all there. She just told you where it's from. Paxil. So, to hell with all of you, especially you, Israel DNA, go to hell. Go to hell. All of you guys can go to hell. I'll never even open up this chat room again. Never open it up again. To hell with all of you. These people, yeah, they're done. They're done. Now, if you don't get involved, if you don't want to back me, if you don't want to help me pay for the show, you know, if you want to protect the pharmaceutical companies, if you want to, what is it, you're a doctor, and you make your living getting kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies, or you're in the CIA and you're masquerading as a drug cartel, you're running the drugs into this country. I know that. It's in that book, Mystery Babylon. It's in that book. And I think this goes back, not the last 100 years, not having George Bush on there. Now we can see a new world coming into view. No, it's not the new world. It's the old world. It's the old world. And it's been happening thousands and thousands of years. Now, what Hoagland talks about in this, and I don't know if you'll get to it in time for the show here. He points out that nobody's tried to explain what happened to the cars down blocks away from the World Trade Center that were fried, roasted, lifted, flipped on top of each other. This wasn't from explosions in the buildings. It was from something else. There is a science out there that demonstrates, includes levitation. And if you think back, why can we not build pyramids today? Because, why? We don't have enough slaves to move blocks of stone carved into perfect squares that weigh tons. You think a bunch of slaves are going to be able to build that pyramid? I don't believe it happened that way. And that's what I'm talking about in my other book. Mystery Babylon is here now. It talks about the drug trade, it talks about Christian identity, it talks about your enslavement. $35, you can get a copy sent to you immediately, and you can read it tonight. For $20, you can get the whole book up on the internet. Now, if you don't want to support me, if you don't want to do that, no problem. Take a hike. Take a hike. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to talk to me. You don't have to send me anything. But I ain't going to sit around and let you put me down and put people like Donna down that have been through so much. And if you want to put Donna down, you want to say she's crazy, you are an evil son of a bitch. You are, this woman has stayed with her son for 10 years. And if you don't like her, and you don't like me, then you are an evil son of a bitch, and I don't want to have anything to do with you. And I hope, if a race war ever does break out, I'm not going to go out there and shoot the blacks. I'm not going to go shoot the Muslims. I'm not going to go shoot the Jews. I'll look your ugly ass up if you ever had the courage to show your face or tell me who you are. All you want to do is sit back. Clay didn't do that. Clay did this. Clay did this. He said he didn't like this. Oh, and Donna, she's crazy too. Well, birds of a feather flock together. You know, and he didn't want to talk about the Jews. Now, it ain't just the Jews. It ain't just the Masons. It ain't just the doctors. There's a lot of good people out there that have got sucked into this whole system. Because this system has been working to enslave you for 10,000 years. And that's what the Bible really talks about. If you really get down, it's talking about tyranny. It's telling you how people put you and your ancestors, stole your identity, made you forget who you are. And Christian identity teaches you a lot of that. It teaches you a lot of that. And that's why they don't want you to know it. That's why they want to demonize it. Oh, there's Christian identity people. They're dangerous. Oh, Clay Douglas, he's dangerous. You're damn right I am. If you're messing with my family, my country, I took an oath to defend the Constitution, and I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to waste time with you little Zionists out there. Let me tell you who they are. Let me tell you who they really are, folks. And they're the ones. This Uncle says it right. Zionists will use every label possible. Jewelry is a huge distraction, as is racism and skin color. I'm not a racist. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you are, because that's covered by the Constitution. We don't have a state church. But, and by the way, Frosty Woolbridge was a great guest here. Now, I've got a link down below on my site about the AIPAC briefing of Congress. And here's what they say. AIPAC, American Israeli Political Action Committee. For more than 50 years, AIPAC staff and its 100,000 plus citizen activists across the country have worked to provide our elected officials with the information and the tools they need to make informed decisions concerning American policy in the Middle East. In other words, they want to demonize the Arab, they want to demonize the Palestinians, they want to demonize the Muslim, they want to demonize the Christians. They don't want to mention the fact that Jews killed, 50 million white Russians, Christians, in the 90-some-odd year rule of communism. And they've set up the same thing here. Now, whether it's Jews, they either Jews, but are not, what they are, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wrote the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. It matters who is using that today. And folks, I've got books to sell. I've got tapes. Everything I told you 10 years ago in the true face of FEMA, when I filmed the first Homeland Security meeting and got that out there. Now, that had just come out when my accident happened. Liberty Villages is an answer. It is an answer. And if we were all working together, we would be putting these villages together, own the farms and the ranches that exist now. And all the ranchers got to do is open up their doors, open up their land, give us 5 acres, and let the veterans come there. I want this for veterans. I want this for veterans. I want them to run it. I want them to protect it. So you can work and live in a Liberty Village, grow your own food, get your own thing. It's a good answer. It's a good answer, and the more we find out about it, the more people are already doing this. They're already working on this. They're trying to rebuild a self-sufficient family farm, and they're all trying to do it alone. I know what that's like. I've been alone for the last 6 years. I've been trying to build this, and because of a few people on a chat room here, I was able to get Mark Taylor out. I was able to forward the gasoline to get up to Phoenix to help them, to meet them. Just a few people made a donation. A few people, a handful of people that listen to my show made some donations. And one listener ordered a book and ordered some hayes. She ordered a book. So I'm able to make it through this week. This week. Because somebody cared enough to place an order to make a donation. But there are so few. We've got millions of people out there, and I've got a handful because my website is blocked in every library and Intel and Intuit, every major corporation. And we can't have your employees, getting all these bad ideas. So we'll call the Free American we'll call it a porno site. It's a porno site. And I've told you that about this whole APAC, ADL, Southern Poverty Law, and it's all in here in Mystery Babylon. It'll tell you what they've done to us. Now, my book on the Lucifer legend takes it back even further. And what I proposed 40 years ago is that perhaps we are the ones that are flying around in space. People have said, people in UFOs, a few of them landed, some of them, and they look just like us. That's because they are us. Part of us. Some of us. And there are, throughout the last 10,000 years, there are people who have been fighting to be free, like our founding fathers. And they've been fighting these evil medical, military, industrial complex types. There's a war. It's really a war against good and evil. Lady K says, we don't always have to agree on everything. That's right. Some of you just ain't going to get on a motorcycle. You're not going to risk your life every day like I do. You probably wouldn't ride a friggin' horse either. But I do. And a lot of you just want to stay below the radar. I just don't want to call attention to myself. I just don't want anybody to be mad at me. I just want to be well liked. I don't. And maybe if I was a little bit more diplomatic, maybe if I just didn't tell people, you're an asshole, get the hell out of my room. Maybe I'd get more support. Maybe if I just sucked up and never mentioned the Jews, Judaism, Talmud, Israel, the Palestinians, maybe if I did that, I'd be a lot better off. I'd have more money. You wouldn't have people. You wouldn't have people picking at you, Clay. You wouldn't have people shooting at you. You wouldn't have people trying to kill you if you were just a good slave. Be a good slave. Follow that Pauline Christianity. And that's for you, William Fink, you chicken shit. Follow that Pauline Christianity. Be a good slave. Don't rebel against your master. Thomas Jefferson had Saul's number, and his name wasn't Paul, and he wasn't an apostle. He was a Pharisee. He was a Pharisee. Be a good slave. Don't rebel against your masters. And in my book, The Lucifer Legend, I just take the stand and the viewpoint. If I've been demonized this much over just the last 20 years, over just the issues we had here, maybe Lucifer wasn't the bad guy. Maybe he wasn't the devil. Maybe he was the one that was trying to take care of man. And maybe he's been back and been here all along. Maybe he's been there. It's a fiction book. It's a fiction book. But, folks, it's got... I wrote more about this 40 years ago. And now people like Richard Hoagland are talking about it today. Today, they're talking about it.
And what will change will be the creeping forces which are trying to stifle not only the human spirit, but our very human destiny. Now that's kind of a lofty phrase for where we have to go in order to not only survive, but to prevail, to become human again. The most interesting things are happening on this planet. I'm going to talk about them in a couple of minutes. And they're not happening from the top down. They're happening from the bottom up. They're happening from the people. And it doesn't matter which people we're talking about, whether we're talking about Egyptians or Tunisians or Syrians or Yemenis or Wisconsinians in my own country. People are finally declaring that they have had enough. Now, I believe it was Peter who said earlier this morning that the main hold they have on all of us is fear. Well, the thing that I've been noticing over the last several weeks, ever since this extraordinary, unmodeled, unpredicted, absolutely out of nowhere revolution which is sweeping the planet was born, the thing that I've noticed is that more and more of the people that are on CNN or MSNBC or Fox or whatever network that you happen to watch, they are insisting that they be on camera, that they not be in shadow or have their identity concealed, but that they be known as someone standing up for freedom, real freedom. And that has not happened in my lifetime. It has not happened in your lifetime. I believe I can make a case, which I'm going to try to do as we wend our way through a very complex territory. I think I can make the case that the Mayans got at least part of it right. We're coming up to this extraordinary nodal point where the very consciousness of human beings is changing. And I have got a kind of a phrase, which is that the good are getting better and the bad are getting worse. And what really is going on is this increasing polarization. It's almost like we are two species. Those who are in service to each other, to humankind. I mean, look at the Japanese in the face of impossible catastrophe and tragedy, and this lingering sword of Damocles over their heads that the thing they've depended upon for their economic life's blood is ultimately going to kill them. And yet they're pulling together as a family. They're taking care of the weak. They're taking care of those who can't take care of themselves. There are teenagers that are turning out every day in soup kitchens and in shelters and all that because they suddenly have a mission. They suddenly feel that their life is worth something because they're helping their fellow human beings survive the almost unimaginable. That has to happen.
All right, I think that put it real well. And I'm through with all of these people on TalkShoe. I'll never even open up that chat room again. To hell with them. I'm not doing it anymore. I'll keep on Blog TV, and I will stay on. I'll stay on Blog TV, and I'll stay on Blog Talk. Let's see. Logan hour, okay. Alright, let me see who else I got in here. Okay, got somebody new in there. Logan already in there. Okay. Alright.